You find when you're swinging the club back and through, the path of the club and the path of your arms moves all over the place. Could be the way your shoulders are turning. So we're going to have a look today at how your shoulders should turn, some reference points for it, and how your body influences that movement. Hi, my name's Peter Knight. I've created this channel, Peter Knight Golf, to help you become the best golfer you can be. Maybe that's this year, let's hope so. And if you want to be notified of every one of the videos I get, then hit the subscribe button and also the grey bell notification icon. Let's get on to today's video and have a look at how those shoulders should move. The way you turn your shoulders has a big bearing on how your arms are going to move and the club moves, and of course that then influences where your ball goes and how it goes in the direction it does, and in fact how well you hit it. So what we want to look at today is the way the shoulders turn, and I'm going to give you some checkpoints so that you can have a look and see how your shoulders turn. So if we start off looking at setup, when I set myself up at address, if my spine's vertical, when I place my hands on the club and just move my arms a little bit forward of the center line of my body, so my club's pointed sort of at my left hip socket rather than at the middle of my body here. My upper body is leaning very, very slightly away from the target. When I set myself up to address the ball, my upper body again is leaning slightly away. So that's my setup position. And also, as we can see from down the line, my upper body is leaning forward. Now here's the first key thing in the backswing. If I swing the club away from the ball and my upper body lifts or lowers, that's going to have a big influence on what my shoulder turn does. So the first thing that I want to do is swing the club away from the ball, and when I get to the top of the swing, I want my upper body to still be leaning forward the same amount it was at address. So if we look from down the line here, as I swing the club away to the top of the swing, my upper body hasn't lifted or dropped at all. If I hold the club, now we start to look at some shoulder checkpoints. If I hold the club, say, across my shoulders here, it's at right angles to my spine. When I tilt forward and my body's leaning away from the target, we can see my left shoulder's higher than my right. Now, when I turn back to the top of my swing, at this point here, you'll see that my shoulders are actually still turned pretty much at right angles to my spine. So as I go back, I don't want my shoulders to feel like they're flattening, nor do I want to feel like my shoulders are getting quite steep. Now here's a reference line that I use quite regularly to monitor and show players how their shoulders should turn. So from address, if I imagine a line running from the golf ball and up through my right shoulder, when I swing the club away from the ball, I want my right shoulder to track on that line. So if my shoulder's below that line, my shoulder turns a little bit flat, probably related to my body coming out of posture as well. If my shoulder's above it, then my body may have dropped, or I've deliberately done something different to my shoulders. So body control has a lot to do with how my shoulders are going to turn, naturally enough. In the downswing, if I again imagine that line from the ball through my shoulder, as I begin my downswing, my shoulder moves down that line there. Now, as I approach the ball, my shoulders are going to level a little bit, so this shoulder's not going to stay on that line all the way till impact. And then it moves through as my body comes up. So it does change quite a bit during the swing. Having the movement of the shoulders correct makes a massive difference to my ability to move my arms correctly. So for example, if I swing the club away from the ball and my shoulder turns too flat, the club can easily swing around behind me. And so my focus is all the time on my hands and my club, and yet I need to look at what's happening with my shoulders. And then beyond that, probably what's happening with my upper body as well. So if I set myself up, look to get, good shoulder turn back and through, that'll control my club and ultimately the flight of the ball. So practice that shoulder turn, use the checkpoints that I've given you and see what happens. First of all with body movement, and second with the shoulder turn.